Welcome to Beyond My Crisis. I'm your co-host, Ron Rossnick.
And I'm Vivian Gaspar. We are here today to help you overcome and, of course, conquer the fears that hold you back in life, and especially remind you that it's not just you who's affected when you have fear. It's those who love you and rely upon you. Today we have with us Kalliope Barlis. She's a best-selling author of 3 books, and she's an expert in personal development and peak performance strategies. She helped thousands of people become better spouses, parents, and succeed in business. Went from pro golfer to doctor of acupuncture to Phobia Relief Expert. Thank you, Kalliope, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Vivian and Ron.
Well, I think
for the fear that we had talked about before was about business, how to succeed in business. There's a lot of people that may have jobs that they're not satisfied with and they want to launch. How do we get started? How do people overcome that hurdle?
First, by thinking about what it is exactly that you want, because a lot of people stay too often what they don't want instead of what they do want. I don't want to be poor. Well, what if instead you start saying, I want to have a better lifestyle for myself, my family, my kids? Because when we set direction for the brain, it starts knowing intuitively what to do. Because you can't get rich sitting in front of the TV watching the Shark Tank.
So use language that promotes a positive thought process, not a negative thought process.
That's right. Because you need to set a destination for your brain to start doing things to get it done.
So have a plan. So basically think about what you want to achieve and then take an action. You talked about Shark Tank. So sitting in front of a TV watching Shark Tank doesn't create business success for those TV watchers.
That's right. Because they can think all they want about what it is that they want, but they also need to implement what it is that they're going to do to make it happen.
How do you help people do that?
First, by starting about how it is that you're going to look like, sound like, and feel like, especially when you have what it is that you want. Because it's not just about visualization. We're like these super sensory human beings that see, hear, and feel, especially. And when you can actually taste what it's like to have the wealth that you want in your life, not just with money, but the intimacy, maintaining the intimacy with your family, your wife, your kids, and your friends. And really it's just balancing everything.
So I have a question. So often we hear about the coined phrase, fear of success. Is that real? To me, it does sound crazy. Why would you be afraid of succeeding?
There's a woman named Virginia Satir, who was a family therapist many years ago, and she coined the fact that the greatest instinct in people is not survival. The greatest instinct is keeping things familiar. So that when people are in a rut or things are not going their way and they just feel like, oh my God, nothing ever happens right for me. Well, the truth is that if they start thinking about, oh my goodness, if I do actually have what it is that I want, I'm going to look, feel, and sound amazing, not only to myself, but to others. And so that way, just by thinking about it, it builds in a familiarity.
So believe in your success is the key.
Well, believing, you need a strategy for one. You need a knowing how to do this. How am I going to do this? And I don't think that there is one recipe for any success, anybody's success. It's having a strategy and believing that you can. And once you know that you can, well, what is it that you're going to have once you do it?
But as a phobia relief expert, let's go back to this situation that you have the fear of success, but then you have the fear of failure. How do you see those two either correlating or being different, and which is more prevalent in people?
It depends on the individual, which one's prevalent. I think overall, it's a fear of actually feeling that good. Because for so many people, they're not used to having these incredible feelings of feeling good.
So give me an example. If we're going to help people feel good, what could someone do today to start practicing to feel better?
So each and every morning before you get out of bed, imagine thinking about what it is in the past that's made you feel good, so that in the moment you're feeling good. So what if you come up with 3 basic things to feel good about before you even get out of bed? It sets a beautiful brain chemistry inside your mind so that you can go throughout the day feeling even better. And when you feel good, it changes how you do things.
I think that's a great strategy. I have actually never heard that before.
But I have heard that the mind can't tell the difference whether something is true or false. Whatever you tell it, it starts believing. So if you tell it something that may not be convincingly true for you, but it's positive and makes you feel better, then that'll work.
Well, it's been scientifically proven. They say that the brain doesn't know the difference between what it's done, what it thinks, or what it sees. So that if you see someone performing a certain way, doing something, your brain mirrors the activity. And the same goes if you have a thought about being successful, like clearly seeing it in bright, vivid color and huge, so that you can actually see yourself being that successful. Your brain will actually make it happen more so than not having done that.
Also, I just realized, of course, as a human being, we're conditioned to wanting to be with friends, be with the people that they love. Is there ever this fear of success correlated with maybe that if I'm successful, the people who are closest to me will somehow alienate me, or I'll feel too different from them? Does that ever come into play?
It sometimes happens with some people that when they become successful, other people seem to judge themselves for not doing the same that you're doing.
But maybe it doesn't come across that way.
You just got to get over that.
Yeah.
Enough is enough.
Exactly.
But I don't think it comes across that way, because nobody's ever going to say, I don't want to be as close to you any longer as a friend because I'm jealous of you. Maybe the person just pulls back unexpectedly. So perhaps someone might be afraid of that and use that as their subconscious reason to not succeed. Is that possible?
It is possible, and it's happened. But the truth is that when you set any goal in life, you need to think about, is it going to have a positive influence on every aspect of my life? And if it doesn't, is it worth getting? So if you start thinking about what it is that you want before you get it, you can start sorting out people's reactions, people's responses to you, so that you know how to handle it. And look, you have no control over anybody else's behavior other than your own.
So a goal is like a destination. If you don't have a goal, you have no map to follow to get there.
Well, let's put it this way. If you were to put in a GPS a location that you want to go somewhere, chances are it's not really going to take you anywhere. So the brain works the same way. Once you tell it what it is that you want, it searches and sorts for actually getting it.
Right, so instead of couch potatoes sitting in their chair watching TV and getting that dopamine rush, feeling good because the brain can't tell what's real or what's fake, we're telling people to get up and actually live the life, take the action, get into business, be involved with family in a positive way.
That's right, and it's all about how you think, which Dr. Richard Bandler says it's how you think that changes how you feel, which then changes how you do things.
So what is another strategy to help make sure someone sticks with it? Because of course, fear comes and goes. I mean, just when you think you might overcome it, doesn't it perhaps creep back in at different points as you progress?
Well, it can. And the truth is that the more aware you become of that sort of thought, because it can happen with anyone, that, oh, am I really doing the right thing? But the truth is that you can judge at the moment if you are or if you're not. And if you keep going and thinking of the goal in mind, it'll propel you into actually getting it done.
So some people have phobias that are PTSD, that are really, they get anxiety ridden. They're on medication like Xanax or Klonopin or something like that. What do you suggest these people start changing? How do you fix that?
So anyone who's on any sort of medication needs to, of course, go to a doctor to see what the best thing to do is, stop it or start it or anything in between. But one of the things that can change brain chemistry is simply changing how you think. For instance, if I say, think of a wonderful time in your life, you feel a certain way. But if I say, think of a time in your life when things didn't go so well, instantly you feel different. So just by changing how you think, it changes the brain chemistry.
What would you give someone as 2 or 3 pieces of nuggets if they start on this journey and they're determined But, everything has its ups and downs. You have setbacks, you have, little successes. But as people go through this process of having a business, once they start it, and then making that a very successful business, what is there as a standard, maybe operating procedure of keeping a positive outlook to be persistent with what they want? Is there anything you could tell us there?
I would suggest that in any avenue that you take to build a business, that you make sure that all aspects of your life remain in balance, so that one thing doesn't affect the other. So that at least, okay, you're busy at work, but just make sure you remain connected with your children, your family, your partner, whoever it may be, so that you continue being a great spouse
So
or
you've got to
parent.
balance life, business, family, personal health.
Exactly, because a successful business person may lose contact with their family and realize 18 years from now, oh my God, I didn't even know, I don't know what happened with my family. I don't know who they are. Is it that you don't like them? I'm sure that's not the cause, right? So you want to maintain some sort of connection deeply with yourself so that it resonates with the rest of your life.
And you help people with this personally.
Yes, I do. And basically I guide people into what it is that they want. I actually have them see on paper how it's going to look like, as
like
well
a
as
vision board or dream board?
I call it a circle.
Yeah. And how is this any different?
And different pieces of the pie represent different pieces of their life. And so I have them put a gauge to it by numbers and how it looked in the past, present, and future.
So you've got a system that you feel really can prepare people and catapult people into success and phobia-fear life.
And I have, absolutely, because there's no reason to suffer or no reason to hold yourself back from having the true wealth that you deserve.